chapter 7. And we'll start in verse 21. Matthew chapter 7, starting in verse 21. And the Lord gave it to me on the way here. I thought I was going to preach somewhere else, but I felt like the Lord had me preach from here. And for a long time, a couple years ago, I kind of struggled with these verses right here. And, wondered to myself, why would it be this way? And the Lord showed me, He said, because people try to do works in their own hands, and people try to take things in their own hands, and they're not doing it for His glory and for His magnification. They're not doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it of themselves so that man can be glorified. And that's not how it works, and that's not how things should be. But we'll be in Matthew chapter 7, starting in verse 21. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. And like I said, I thought to myself, people trying to do good works and people trying to do this, that, and the other, why wouldn't He let them in? But the Lord showed me, I prayed about it, and the Lord showed me, said that He was just trying to glorify man trying to glorify themselves, just sitting there and saying, well, if you do this or that, the Lord will bless you. Like a lot of the preachers you see on TV, if you send me money, the Lord will bless you that much more. That's not how it works. That's not how the Lord has it to work. The Lord wants you to come through Him. The Lord desires you to come through Him, not through man. There's so many people out there saying today that you can live just any old way and that it'll be all right. You can live your best life out there. You can live out there in the world. You can live out there in sin and you'll still be all right. You'll still be accepted in the Lord. You can live any old way. You can live just out there, it'll be all right. That's what people are telling everybody out there. And people are still living out there in sin and sitting there saying, well, the so-called pastor of the church told me that I can live out there in sin. I can continue to live this way and it'll be all right. I'll be accepted with the Lord. And I'll say, unless you've been saved and born again, and that's the truth, unless you've been saved and born again, you won't get into heaven. You won't enter in, my good and faithful servant, enter into the kingdom of heaven. You must have your name written in the Lamb's Book of Life. People don't want to hear about that. People don't want to hear about hell. They don't want to hear that it's an awful place. I've seen people say, I don't preach about hell. I don't want my kids to have to hear it. That's a terrible thing. Well, I'll tell you, it's the truth. Kids need to hear it. Men and women, they need to hear it. They need to hear the truth. That if you're not saved and born again, you'll go to hell. If you're not, but if you are saved and born again, your name's written in the Lamb's Book of Life. People try to overcomplicate the matter. They try to overcomplicate it and try to put stipulations on it. I say that it's just the most easiest thing that there ever was. The Lord comes to you and He knocks at you hard, and you got to accept the invitation. You got to accept the Lord into your heart. It don't cost any money. You ain't got to give nobody a dime, but you got to give the Lord when He knocks at you hard. You got to come to Him. You got to surrender yourself before Him. You got to come to the altar with a broken heart and a contrite spirit. You got to come. That's the only way. Now, I've heard of people being saved outside of the church. I've heard them being saved out there on the lake. I've heard them being saved out there in the woods. I've heard them being saved all over the place. It's where the Lord comes to you, where the Lord comes a knocking. That's where it's at. When the Lord is dealing with you, we got to answer the call when the Lord is dealing with us. There's so many people out there leading people astray. They're sitting there saying that if you don't get salvation this go around, that the Lord will come and set up His kingdom for 1,000 years. You can get it then. That's going to send a lot of people to hell. They'll think to themselves, well, I can live just any old way I want to right here. But when the Lord comes back and sets up His kingdom here for the 1,000 years, I'll get salvation then. But I tell you, if it was that way, Jesus would have mentioned it somewhere in the Bible. He don't mention it anywhere in the Bible. He doesn't say, don't worry about getting saved right now. I'm coming back to set up a kingdom for 1,000 years. It's not mentioned once right here. Jesus never said it. He told him, He said, you must be saved. It's what He told Nicodemus over there. When Nicodemus come to Him, He said, you must be born again. He didn't tell him, He said, wait for 1,000-year reign. No, He said, you must be born again. That's what He told him. When Lazarus died, he was lifted up. He was in paradise. He went to Abraham's bosom. But when the rich man died, where did he lift his eyes? He was in hell. He didn't get another opportunity. He didn't get another chance. He was begging for one drop of water, but there was no water that fell. He wanted to get out of that place of torment, the place where the worm doth not. I tell you, if the Lord's knocking at your heart, it's the time to answer it. It's not a thing to put off. It's not a thing to say that the devil will tell you. It's not a thing for next week. It's not a thing for wait 2 or 3 months down the road. It's not a wait a year. If the Lord is dealing with you today is the day of salvation. Not then. The devil will tell you all manner of things to try to get you walk out of here lost. Each and every individual, the devil will say, no matter where he at, when the Lord is dealing with you, those people that was out there in the midst of the public that's been saved out there, I'm sure the devil was on them. The devil was telling them, when you're right here in the middle of the grocery store, or right here in the middle of the bargain barn, or you're just right here, look at all these people. Don't bow down right here. Don't pray to the Lord right here. But they did it, and they accepted the Lord. It's where the Lord called them at. It's where the Lord was dealing them at. And that's where they got salvation. And I thought about over here too in Acts, when the vagabonds over here, the Jews, over here in Acts chapter 19, we'll start in verse 13. Acts chapter 19, verse 13. Then certain of the vagabond Jew exorcists took upon them to call over them which had evil spirits the name of the Lord Jesus, saying, we adjure you by Jesus whom Paul preacheth. And there were 7 sons of one Sceva, a Jew, and chief of the priests, which did so. And the evil spirit answered and said, Jesus I know, and Paul I know, but who are ye? If you look in verse 13, it says, then certain of the vagabond Jew exorcists took upon them. They took it upon themselves to call them out. Boy, could you imagine sitting there, and there's people like that today. They'll call out and they'll say, well, I know the Lord. I'm doing all this in the Lord's work. The Lord sent me to do this right here. The Lord said to tell each and everybody here to send me this amount of money. I've got to have this amount of money. If you want your blessing, send this right here, and that's the way it'll be. That's not how it is. And I believe people when they say, look, the Lord just sent me here to tell you this right here. I've had to do that myself. The Lord sent me over to talk to somebody and tell them something. But it all worked out because the Lord was working on the other end. But I didn't just say, well, I'm going to go over here and just tell them that I need to talk to them and talk to them about this right here. The Lord had to send me. There's a lot of people that's just doing it on their own. But could you imagine sitting there and there an evil spirit was, and they say, I come up out of this man, we adjure you by Jesus, whom Paul preacheth, and the evil spirit look at you and say, Jesus I know, and Paul I know, but who are you? They weren't written in the Lamb's Book of Life. They didn't know the Jesus that Paul was preaching about. They was trying to do it on their own. We can't do it on our own. We can't. You can't do it man's way. You can't have it man's way. You can't have it easy. People want to hear that you can get out here and live any old way. That you can get out here and live in the world, do worldly things. And I know people backslide. I backslid. Asked the Lord for forgiveness, and the Lord forgave me. But you can't go out here every single day and sit here and say, well, the Lord forgave me. I'm going to come back to this right here. I'm going to come back to iniquity. I'm going to come back to the things of the world out here. It doesn't work that way. And I truly believe when you're right with the Lord that you don't want those things out there. You don't want the things of the world. You don't want to go back to them. I truly believe that with my whole heart. But you got so-called preachers out there saying it's okay. It's all right. Be this way. Live this way. Do this. Don't let nobody tell you or discourage you and say that you can't live this way. Well, the Bible says it. It says, so we continue in sin that grace may abound. God forbid. The Bible says that. We shouldn't continue in sin. Shouldn't want to. If we're living for the Lord and living right, we shouldn't want to continue to live in sin. We should want to serve Him. Give Him all the praise, honor, and glory. Thank Him for what He done. Thank Jesus for going all the way, not just half the way, not just going just part of the way. No, He went all the way. When He was praying over there in the garden, He said, Father, not my will, but Thy will be done. He went all the way. There was legions of angels round about, ready to come get Him at any moment. When He said, I don't want to do this anymore, but He didn't. He went all the way for me, you, and the whole world, that we may be saved. He hung there between the heaven and the earth and paid the ultimate price and made the ultimate sacrifice, being beaten and whipped and dashed upon with their teeth, paid to the crown of thorns upon His head, and it wasn't just placing it on Him. No, I studied this up. They took those crown of thorns and they mashed them in His head. He had blood coming from the top of His head and pouring down. They were sitting there taking the cat of nine tails and whipping across His back. And it wasn't just a light whipping neither. No, there was peeling the skin off of Him. He paid the ultimate sacrifice because He loved each and every one of us. He went all the way, not just part of the way. He went the whole way for each and every one of us because He loved us. He loves everybody today. It's not His will, or He doesn't want anybody to die and go to hell. We make that choice on our own. When the Lord's dealing with us, we had the choice. When the Lord's dealing with us, I had the choice when the Lord was dealing with me to walk out of the church. And I did. Walked out twice. Third time I didn't. I got saved the third time. But it's our choice when the Lord's dealing with us. And the devil's sitting there saying, well, wait till next Sunday. And we think to ourselves, well, I'll just wait till next week. Wait till the church house ain't full. I'll just wait till so-and-so time. I'll wait till Wednesday night service. I'll wait till Sunday night service. There won't be too many people there. Well, you may not make it to next service. You may not make it to Wednesday night service or the night service. You may not make it. I was reading over there in James where it says, life is like a vapor. It's here and gone. That's the truth today. We're all going to die at some point. We like to feel like we're invincible. We like to feel like nothing's going to happen. I know especially when I was younger and then I didn't really know the Lord. I thought to myself, and the devil told me, he said, you're going to be all right. Nothing's going to happen to you. I felt like I was bulletproof. But now I think to myself a lot of times, what if when I'm going home that somebody crosses into my lane and takes me out of here? I could go at a moment's notice. But I thank the Lord that I know that I'm ready at that moment. If something was to happen, I don't want to leave my wife. I don't want to leave my kids. But I know that I'm heaven bound for a surety, 100%. I know that the Lord has me. I know that I'm ready to leave out of here when the Lord calls me home. I don't have to wonder and worry about it. I don't have to sit there and say, well, this right here, maybe I'm ready, maybe I'm not. No, I can say for a surety, 100%, I know where I'm going when I leave out of here. And I thank the Lord for that surety. The devil's tried to make me doubt it before. He has. He said, what if you're not really saved? The devil's good at that. What if you're not really saved? How do you know that you got it? I pray to the Lord. Pray to the Lord. Lord, show me. Show me. Show me that I've been saved. And the Lord told me and showed me. Showed me in His own way. I know for a surety that I have been saved. I know for a surety on that day that He's going to say, enter in, my good and faithful servant. Your name's written right here in the Lamb's Book of Life. Enter in. Boy, what a day that'll be. A wonderful day. As they come get a song, search your heart this evening.